time for a little office vlog. So Sacramento just had their first time for a little office vlog. So NSL just had their first event in America. It was in Sacramento. So it sort of brings up this question that sometimes I'll get asked every now and then from field managers or really like players to suggest to field managers, how can a field or store support like tournaments and tournament players and stuff like that? I've got about 6 things that I feel like are pretty simple. The first one, if you're a field and you have a speed field, offer free play to registered players of that event. This is gonna let other competitive players know that you actually like give a shit about them getting better because you're giving them basically like an open mat. You're giving them the ability to practice without having to worry about like balancing their finances and stuff like that. Because that's usually the biggest thing is, how do we circulate the money and who gets, how much money. If you're hesitant on free stuff, like free field fees and stuff like that, hey man, ask for like social media postings or see if a couple of those kids will make some YouTube videos for you and just like you give them whatever SEOs you want them to plug into their tag section of the YouTube video and get some free promo out of it. If you're like super against like I don't want to give anything away for free, all right, we'll get some marketing quality out of it, some marketing value. Then shit, man. What I usually like to do is something to the effect of if you're registered for the upcoming tournament, you can practice on the speed field for free on Saturdays and Sundays during public play, as long as you repost this story and tell everyone, hey, I'm going to this day or whatever. I mean, that's something, right? If you just don't want to hand stuff out for free, you can at least get marketing value out of it. If you have a store that does tech work, offer free tech work. Priority. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Offer free priority tech work. Meaning if you're registered for X tournament or competitive event, you guys go to the front of the line for free. So if you drop your gun off on Tuesday at noon and 3 dudes drop their guns off on Tuesday at 10 a.m., guess what? The next gun we work on is going to be yours. And that's free priority. That's something. Shit. BB bundle deals. I just did that with NSL, with those NSL players. It worked very well. I sold 10 out of 10 bundles, and I actually had a couple extra people hit me up, so I probably could have sold like 12. I had huge success with this. I sold 10 bundles for 110 each. They consisted of 4 bottles of the 5600 count Evike Bio Tracers because those were the BBs that I was able to buy in bulk, basically. And also keep it at a reasonable price. Also remember, once you hit $8,000 in an Evike cart, you get free shipping. So fuck the wait. That's how I buy BBs anyway, is if we're doing a big cart, I'm going to throw BBs in there, or I don't buy BBs unless I already have like $8,000 worth of shit that I have to buy from Evike anyway. That way I get free freight. Same thing I do with green gas, CO2, all that stuff. Free freight with Evike after 8K, and I feel like no one in the industry is really taking advantage of that, especially when it comes to BBs. Hey, that's just me. I only charged about $2 above dealer. So technically, Evike doesn't have a map. They don't have a minimum advertised pricing. They only have dealer and MSRP. So according to me, there's no real way I can get trouble for that because I didn't sell to dealer. And that MSRP is just the manufacturer's suggested retail. There's no map pricing with anything Evike has. Also, I mean, in theory, all these NSL players had already paid for this event anyway, and this was just like a special one-time event thing. So usually, if you have like a special event or if you offer a service-based fee, like a field admission, most companies won't care if you go below map because they've already paid money. So map really applies to if you're just buying that one item under no special circumstances. That's how I was able to do that through Evike. That actually worked very well. BBs are one of those things. They're kind of heavy if you have a lot. Remember, it's a tournament, so I mean, most players, most NSL players, were going through about 20,000 BBs in a practice day. Sometimes, that's a lot of BBs. That's like a lot of weight to carry. Plus, especially if you're flying or if you're driving, BBs are just one of those things where if you can just have someone pre-order and pick them up at your event or at your store, it's going to save so much time. I mean, for crying out loud, paintball's been doing this with field paint and like tournament paint for years. It's the same concept. I don't know why Airsoft hasn't adopted this yet. Oh wait, it's because the airsoft industry is fucking booty compared to what the paintball industry is. Oh, I forgot. No one thinks about these things. If you've got players coming from out of town, open your tech space up to them for free. Let them use their tools for free. I had a couple dudes that took advantage of this. It literally costs you nothing, and the respect you get back is pretty priceless. But if someone breaks their gun, like the day before, during, or if there's some sort of time between when they leave or the last time they played to the time that they arrive, and their gun breaks, what are you going to do? What if they have to? What if you have to solder something? What if you need like a really specific tool or really specific part? That customer experience is going to be negatively impacted because now they have to worry about their gun. They're not going to have time to enjoy the tournament as like a fun experience because they're already pissed off that their gun's broken. The way to eliminate that and to ensure total customer satisfaction is to just let homie come in the back of your store and just tinker on his gun for free. Let him use your tools. If you want, you could have like a separate workbench for them so it's not in the way of your store techs so they can still keep working. But I had a guy who came in and worked on his, I think it's either his DSG or his SSG, and he was tweaking and tuning some stuff. I just let him do it, like, hey dude, tools are back there, help yourself. Cost me literally nothing. But again, big brain shit. You don't have to give your sponsored teams money, but I would advise letting them buy stuff through you at cost and them allowing them to raffle those items off. We did a Speedfield meet and greet where I gave Speedfield only play a discount. I think it did $10 all day Speedfield only. And I also had raffle items where I raffled off a SpeedQB belt and like a dump pouch. And I took that money and we gave it to Steve QB, who came from out of state. He came from Kentucky. He paid basically his whole way. So I felt like the least I could do to support him and what he represents in the community is to at least give him like $200 in food cash or in basically travel spending money to alleviate his personal finance. Homie's got, if I'm correct, he has a wife and children. He flew all the way up from Kentucky, which last time I checked isn't known for being a state with a lot of horribly like exorbitant rich people. He came all the way out here to California on his own. Bro, the least I could do is give him a couple $100, like, hey, here, go eat actual food instead of like, I don't know, a bunch of ramen or whatever, because you just spent most of your money on personal family finances and travel expenses. Like, no, dude, fuck that. I'll hook that up. Now, am I going to be able to do that every time? I don't know, probably not. Maybe not, maybe. But this time I was able to do it, and it was cool. It was a way to support members of the community other than competitors. But you can also let your teams do that. So if a team says, hey, we want to do a fundraiser event, let them buy a gun or some magazines or some stuff through you at cost, and then just let them raffle it off and keep the profits for themselves. Again, literally cost you fucking nothing. And you only get good things back in return. Rent out HBA tanks. Again, if someone is traveling, carrying around HBA tanks is kind of a pain in the ass. So find out what tanks they're running and then just order them. And then just let them rent it out. The particulars of how you want to do that is kind of up to you. So rent them out at about half of what your dealer cost is, and then you could either sell them at the remaining 50%, or if you wanted to sell them back at 60% as a used tank, or fucking throw it to your premium HBA rentals. Oh, you don't have premium rental guns? Oh, you don't have premium HBA rentals? Well, is it because you're fucking old basic and shit, and you're still like trying to promote things on the radio and in like the penny saver, the fuck out of here. What are you doing with your life? I'll do like a separate video on premium rentals. But if you haven't thought to do premium rentals, do you still use like your AOL email account? Like, is that how kind of old you are? So for me, supporting the competitive community means doing what I reasonably can to ensure competitors have every convenience they need to compete without costing me too much. I don't mind breaking even as long as I'm not losing too much money. Hell, depending on what it is, maybe I'd be okay with losing $50 or so if it means that the competitive experience is way higher. Maybe, depending on what it is. But I'm not out here to get rich off some dude that's already spending like stupid amounts of money on travel and lodging and whatever other crazy expenses that they're putting into whatever they need to compete. Like, I'm not, again, no one is making consistent revenue off of just tournaments. That doesn't exist in the industry. You have to be an intelligent business person, look at the event, look at that customer demographic and go, okay, what does this customer need? How can I provide that? Oh, they're coming from out of town? Okay, so they don't want to buy a tank. How can I help them and help myself with this? Well, shit, why don't I just rent them a tank? And then I'll just sell that tank later and recoup my costs, maybe make a little extra money if I want, or I'll just throw it in with my premium inventory and then it'll just keep generating recurring revenue anyway. Man, you probably haven't fucking thought of that because you're old as fuck.